Hello there, welcome to the first vlog of Actually Jack. The description of what's going to happen in this and future vlogs can be found in the description below to keep this as short as possible. So without further ado, let me introduce our very first feature. I'm really excited for this one because it involves the organisation of two occupational therapists, one of which I've worked really closely with in the past and is a fantastic influence on the world of autism and particularly sensory issues. Now usually I have sweatbands, headphones and bits and pieces to help with my own sensory issues, but actually there can be a lot more sort of variation and severity of issues for people on the autistic spectrum of sensory needs, especially for young children. So SensorWare opened up a sensory hub in Plymouth, and I went along to find out more about how they constructed it and how they did it in an autism-centred, person-centred way. First of all, here's some of the things you might see outside as you're walking up to the sensory hub. You need to get off at Devonport Park in Plymouth, where the Routeway Centre is based, and then the sensory hub is within it. Here are some of the lovely flora and fauna that you can walk through, which already puts you at ease before you're approaching the sensory hub. All of the sensory hub itself is very well lit and has a lot of other activities for autistic people around it as you approach. When you get to the Routeways hub here, you just walk along past the kitchen on your right hand side here, you turn the corner and you find this excellent, if a little unexpected shed here where the wonders of the sensory is within. Now let's hear from the creators of the sensory hub.
So we went to the Royal College of Occupational Therapy conference in 2017, and at the conferences they have occupation stations where you can go and engage in any kind of groups. You did like a tabletop gardening one, they had sensory circuits, they had all sorts there. And so the sensory circuits group that they had set up, I think had been set up in a hospital for people with learning disability.
Okay.
And so we kind of used that as a basis of inspiration. We did quite a lot of research on sensory circuits and what would be needed in a kind of alerting area, what would be needed in an organising area, and what would be needed in a calming area. But also went around the groups that routed with kind of pieces of paper and asked the children what they liked, what they felt helped them when they were feeling one way and wanted to feel another way.
So it's great that the people who created SensorWare in the Sensory Hub are in a really person-centred state of mind. But what about the people who create these resources?
I think totally by getting the children, young people, adults to try out the items and just say how they feel whilst trying them, because instead of saying, oh, you will feel like this when you use this item, because everybody feels differently for every item. So just, let people try them and say how they feel, don't tell them how they feel.
So the other thing I can say about this space from a really practical, honest point of view is that, well, if anyone got sort of sensory overload from any of this sort of stuff, it's been really well practically thought out about each sensory thing being in a different corner, so if anything gets lobbed, just as a spontaneous reaction, it's probably going to go into the centre of the room, it's not going to harm anyone, fingers crossed, and the lighting's really natural. They've got ambient sounds in the background. We've had wind chimes and rainforest sounds, I think, so far, and it keeps going on shuffle. So actually, there's a lot of sort of real stuff that, if you're out of a sensory space, it's also thought about as well as being in the sensory space in the moment in time to make sure your experience remains ambient and really positive.
The beauty of a sensory circuit is you can build it differently every time, and that is totally our intention. So at the minute we are working with people that are 16 to 24 within the pilot sessions, so that would be a really good basis of learning what they like to engage in, and we're also meeting with adult commissioners to see if they can support this in the communities that go into different areas, so we can actually go to them or to somewhere that they access as well as them coming to us. So
That's the plan, yeah. I think, as you say, there's kind of things within the circuit that could be kind of aimed more towards older, because we have groups for adolescent mental health as well, so that's kind of up to 18.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just kind of making sure that they feel that it's not too childlike, or you know, it depends on them what they want to engage with really at that time. But yeah, I think we're hoping to get some more equipment in that is kind of more suitable to adult frames and sizes and things as well.
Yeah, so avoiding people being stuck in the crash area. Getting a myriad of interesting sensations going on here, but actually, this is the most comfortable. I think you've got a fair amount of pressure on your lower back, and obviously it's really sort of, you've got real control of it, because you can real press in pressure if you want something firmer, or you can just release if you want it to sort of stay that way. Can one of you chuck me that silver ball? See, if I just chuck this here, I've essentially got like
Stop.
Because they have like a temporary hotel that doesn't quite work that way. You've got to like hold on to it. But there you go. I feel like I'm in the Bahamas. Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much to SensorWare and for Routeways for having me there that day. Now, on to our next feature. Within these vlogs, we're going to have an exploratory feature and a feature where you can get involved directly, either as somebody supporting people with autism or as an autistic person yourself. And this one involves both. It's part of my master's research, which I've been doing over the past 3 years, and it's one of the biggest projects I've done. Now, thanks to an amazing team of volunteers, the Portal Torpoint, which was originally the Autism Assemble portal, is now a fully functioning charity shop which helps autistic people with work experience. And here's how you can get involved. When creating the Portal Torpoint, we wanted a place where autistic and non-autistic volunteers could thrive together. And that included looking at what skills autistic people excelled in, what they developed in quickly over time, and the things that the non-autistic volunteers could either help them out with or would be able to do as part of the team effort. The emphasis here was that autistic and non-autistic people all had their own range of skills. Thankfully, we had some really good results, and surprisingly, the social aspects such as using the till and speaking to customers were some of the things that either developed most or autistic people excelled most in. As you can see here, we volunteer in a really open space with lots of different sensory needs and measures. This means regardless of what the autistic person might like sorting or organising, what kind of interests they might have, whether it's from our library to DVD section to the crafts, or through to organising and designing aspects like this. Every autistic person should hopefully have an opportunity to thrive in something relatively of their interest in this setting. And the other really key aspect of this is that we really want students who are looking to support autistic people in the future to be able to work in a setting like this with autistic people, so they can find out the really key, sustainable and authentic way of helping autistic people excel in their everyday lives. Thank you so much for watching that, and for all the people who've been involved in the Portal Torpoint from its inception to now, both volunteers and supported people alike. And that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for watching this first vlog. If you've got any suggestions for the ones in the future, please do let me know. We've focused on a lot of community stuff today, but I also want to make some academic stuff more approachable to the local public, more autism friendly, bust some jargon, among other things, and just show what autistic people and people who support autistic people are doing in the community and amazing things that come out of it. So if you know anything like that, please do let me know. Before then, I've been Actually Jack, you've been fantastic. Thank you for watching. Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for Thank you so much for taking the time to watch that. In future vlogs, we'll be looking at who knows? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch that, and for everyone who's been involved in the Torpoint. Thank you so much for watching that, and for everyone who's been in